And now the news in full. No fewer than 93 Zamfara students who earn scholarships at Cyprus International University are currently stranded over unpaid tuition, accommodation, feeding allowances and improper documentation. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Zamfara State, Waditau Madawaki, made the disclosure while speaking with journalists in Abuja, while assuring that Governor Daud Lawal is taking every possible step to repay all the outstanding debt. Madawaki blamed the previous government of Bello Matawalle, who is now the current Minister of State for Defense, for their plight. This concerns comes 2 days after the Zamfara chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Nuruddin Salisu, voiced a similar concern over the disheartening situation the students in Cyprus are facing.
In the spirit of fairness and just balancing, the attention of the Zamfara State government, and in particular the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and or its parastatal, that is the Zamfara State Scholarship Board, should give its own side of the story of the difficulties that these students are facing. Gentlemen of the press, the main reason for convocation of this conference is to put the records straight and disabuse the minds of the general public.
The Commissioner lamented that the young scholars embarked on an academic journey to acquire knowledge vital to the future of the state, but regrettably found themselves caught in a quagmire of humiliation and academic disruption. He said the school authorities presented a debt of outstanding fees, including tuition being owed by the government, even when they were aware the students had been dropped from attending lectures for almost a year. The students, according to him, were simply left at the mercy of the university authorities by unpatriotic elements who cashed in on the poor arrangement to make fast money.
When the administration took over, we found out that between 2014 to 2023, the administrations of that period refused to pay NECO fees for the State students. The students have written their exams, they were waiting for their result, but the monies were not paid.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has terminated the treason charges brought against the #EndBadGovernance protesters by the Inspector General of Police. Correspondent Kunujo reports that Justice Obiora Igwetu threw out the charges on Tuesday upon his withdrawal from the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi-San, on behalf of the federal government. Fagbemi-San, represented by the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, DPPF, MD Abubakar, had at the proceedings announced his exercise of Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution to take over the case from the Inspector General of Police. Upon the grant of request by Justice Igwetu, the AGF proceeded to request for invocation of the same section of the Constitution to discontinue the trial of the 150 accused persons. Following no objections to the request from various lawyers representing the accused persons, Justice Igwetu granted the request and struck out the charges. Although the accused persons were not in court, the judge ordered their immediate release from prison remand.
We're here on the directive of the President to ensure that the children are safely returned back to their destinations. And before we return them, we want to do also due process of ensuring that they are medically fit. So we take them for safekeeping in the facility and make sure they're medically checked. And where we need to make additional treatment, we take care of them so that psychological they're also tested, and we ensure that they're safely and well treated and taken care of and given human, a human face.
The federal government to take steps. We are calling on the federal government to take steps to return these children to their homes and then embark on rehabilitating them.
Now we have Kunle Edun, the senior advocate of Nigeria, joining us to discourse on the recent development on the story. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening, Nigerians. Good evening.
All right, so the federal government has finally terminated the treason charges against the bad governance protesters. How do you receive this news?
I'm very happy, President, and I past 1 week working with Femi Falana, SC, and other human rights artists done, and what is the right thing that is the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. As a matter of fact, this case ought not to have been filed in the first place. It actually ridiculed Nigeria in the global space. And to ourselves, I mean, how can you charge minors of the law? They don't have the capacity to even make any decision on themselves. And so you want to charge them to court for criminal offense. No, they don't have that capacity raising all these issues about the legality of the entire process, being against how did it come that the Inspector General of the Police, particularly the illegal minors against kids, without the consent and probably knowledge of the between the police and the AG? Because treason is a very challenging person for treason. The AG, the Attorney General of Federation also know about it. It's here again that the Inspector General of Police filing such a charge at the federal, not only in Nigeria, for the legal profession, so it's the legal profession. Because his statements to the fact that
all right, Mr. Kunle, we can't hear you clearly, but thank you so much for your contribution. Can you maybe? All right, thank you so much. That was Kunle Edun, the senior advocate of Nigeria. And now moving on to the rest of the stories. Another tragedy has struck in Rivers State as a middle-aged man named Udeme is feared dead following the collapse of a two-story building under the construction at the Egbelu Obaraja axis in Obogoro community, Obio Akpo local government area. This comes barely 1 week after the collapse of a three-story building at the Irebe axis of the same local government area, although no life was lost in that incident. An eyewitness, Jonathan Ube, says the building at Obogoro caved in on Monday, November 4th, 2024, around 2 p.m. while the contractors were working on the second floor, killing one of them while another narrowly escaped death with severe injuries. He said a couple of deliberate infractions by the property developer may have caused the building to collapse. In the meantime, the Rivers State government has sealed the premises of the collapsed building and declared the property developer Vincent Nwonye wanted over the tragic incident. The Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, Honorable Evans BP, during an on-the-spot inspection of the collapsed building, accused the developer of gross negligence and default of the extant building laws and regulations of Rivers State. The Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Tunji Bello, has called on electricity distribution companies in Nigeria to prioritize the right of consumers in electricity metering processes. He made this call on Tuesday in an urgent meeting between key stakeholders from Nigeria's electricity sector and the FCCPC in Abuja. Bello opened the session by stressing the importance of safeguarding consumers' rights in the electricity sector. He highlighted systemic inefficiencies that continue to plague Nigerian consumers, particularly in relation to metering and billing practices. The meeting addressed mounting concerns over metering issues, including billing discrepancies and handling of obsolete meters, particularly in the wake of recent announcements by DISCOs. Bello's remark came as the FCCPC addressed growing concerns over the phase-out of the Unistar prepaid meter model, which could potentially create additional hardship for consumers. You're still on to Galaxy News. We'll quickly take a break, and when we return, the news continues. Just stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more update and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect to us on our X handle @GalaxyTV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page @GalaxyTV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The Chief Judge of Ekiti State, Justice Oyewole Adeyeye, has passed away after a brief illness. The sad news was confirmed on Tuesday by the Chief Registrar of the Ekiti State Judiciary, Olanike Adigoke, in a statement released by the Judiciary's Public Relations Officer Michael Oba. Adigoke paid tribute to the late Chief Judge, describing him as a respected jurist who dedicated his life to upholding the principles of fairness, equity, and justice. The contribution of the late CJ to the judiciary and Ekiti State as a whole are immeasurable. His legacy will deeply be missed, Adegoke stated. He was born in 1960. Justice Adeyeye was called to the Nigerian bar in 1986. He was appointed Chief Judge of Ekiti State in October 2021, a role in which he served with distinction until his passing. The main opposition party in Delta State has hailed the arrest of the immediate past governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, as a positive step in the fight against corruption. The APC, in a statement by the Publicity Secretary Valentine Ogbunige, commended the federal government for its decisive action, urging the EFCC to continue its investigation into the financial dealings of other former governors and public officials. The party emphasized that the arrest reflects a broader agenda to curb corruption and ensure that public funds benefit the citizens rather than serving personal interest. Okowa, who served as governor from 2015 to 2023 as a Delta State governor, was arrested and detained on Monday by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Port Harcourt over allegations of fraud, embezzlement, and misappropriation of public funds belonging to Delta State. The federal government has issued a 14-day notice of contract termination to Julius Berger over alleged non-compliance with reviewed cost, scope, and terms, stoppage of work, and refusal to remobilize to the site. Abuja Kaduna Zaria Kano Dual Carriageway Section 1, Abuja Kaduna. The Minister of Works, David Mahi, who issued the notice after a meeting between management of the ministry and the company in Abuja said the decision was born out of several months of going back and forth without any meaningful progress. He further hinged the federal government decision to terminate the project on non-compliance with reviewed cost, scope and terms, stoppage of work and refusal to remobilize to the site as directed. According to him, the ministry has in the last 13 months been in constant talks with the company to reach an amiable position on the said alignment, but to no avail.
The directors, we have director in charge of design and bill of quantities. We have directors in charge of special projects. We have director in charge of legal services. We have a director in charge of finance. We have director in charge of human resources. We have a director in charge of Northwest. We have director in charge of this project. We have director of information.
The minister stressed that the contract for the rehabilitation of the Abuja-Kaduna Zaria-Kano dual carriageway, which is divided into 3 sections, was awarded to the company on 20th December 2017 and flagged off by the then Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, at an initial sum of 155.74 billion naira on 18th June 2018. Healthy lifestyle has been described as a way of living that lowers the risk of being seriously sick or dying early. While health is not only just about avoiding disease, but also about physical, mental, and social well-being. These were the messages of the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, Professor Kayode Adeboale, who was represented by his Deputy Vice-Chancellor Administration, Professor Peter, at the awareness campaign rally on healthy living for the academic community. The DVC stressed that it is only a healthy workforce that can be productive, hence the need to create awareness and sensitization on the need to maintain a lifestyle that will prevent diseases, which is cheaper and safer. In her own remarks, the Director of Health Services, Dr. Adewunke Ajayi, said the university has mandated that all staffs must undergo basic health checks so that if anyone is diagnosed of any ailment, it can be treated before it becomes a full-blown ailment. She urged people to also spread the message to their families and friends.
The matter is that a healthy workforce is also a productive workforce. So we must, we are looking at this in those 2 perspectives. The productivity of the organization, the productivity of the individual, and the health of the individual. So we should not really focus on just healthcare. We should actually focus on healthy living. There are certain things you need to do to be healthy. You don't wait until crisis situation. You don't wait until you fall sick. You take some proactive steps that will prevent sickness, that will prevent illnesses, that will prevent diseases.
It has been confirmed that healthy living contributes to a good future, a better quality of life that is sustainable, and it aids in the prevention of preventable illnesses, diseases, and death. God is the ultimate wellness, and if God says end, but what can be prevented, what our contribution can have an effect on, we are saying let's do our part. Every category that can impact on our health, our staff, there is the approval from the university to do basic health check for all our staff, so that if anything is picked, it will be treated before it becomes a full-blown illness.
The Niger Delta Development Commission has announced the commencement of the channelization of Kolo Creek, spanning 17 communities from Okereke, Otugidi to the Ogbia communities in Rivers and Bayelsa State. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony in Okereke, Ahodia West local government area, Rivers State, NDDC Managing Director Samuel Oboku said the project aims to reduce flooding in surrounding communities and mitigate its impact on the Ohadia axis of the East-West Road. This was disclosed in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Tuesday by the Director of Corporate Affairs, NDDC, Sele D. Thompson Wakama. Obuku stated that the channelization project will also enhance commercial activities in the area, improve aquatic life, and reduce the threat of waterborne diseases to rural communities. Obuku explained that the channelization of Kolo Creek, which serves several communities in Bayelsa and River State, was initiated in response to an appeal from local leaders seeking urgent intervention to clear blockages that could cause severe damage if left unaddressed. And now we'll move over to the foreign desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. Election day voting has begun in the United States, with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris vying to become the next president. Harris has advocated for abortion rights and pledged to lower food and housing costs for working families, while Trump has vowed to seal the border and has proposed tax cuts worth trillions. It's not just a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump today. Voters in America have plenty else to decide on. Abortion rights are on the ballot in 10 states, including the battleground states of Arizona and Nevada. 1/3 of the U.S. Senate, 34 of its 100 seats, is also up for grabs. Democrats currently control the Senate by a 1-seat margin. In the U.S. House of Representatives, the lower chamber of Congress, all 435 seats are up for election. As they are every 2 years, Republicans currently have a slim majority. Recreational or medical marijuana use is also in ballot in 4 states: Florida, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Referendums on voting and election in some areas. Voters will also choose how they want their elections to be run.
And that's all we have on Galaxy News. Thank you so much for being a part of the news. My name is